Good morning. So today for your first reading lesson, we are going to be looking at the pictures, the illustrations, and see how they explain the text mood and its meaning. So we're going to relate the illustrations to the text. Right? And then the next thing you're going to do, you're going to have a kind of a group discussion about, what you think the mood is. And then you're going to share about it. All right. So here's our close reading question. It says to reread paragraphs 27 through 39. How do the illustrations that accompany these paragraphs affect the mood of the text? And how do they introduce new details that are not mentioned in the text? So we're going to look at the illustrations, and we're going to look for anything that is not talked about in the text that we're getting from the illustration, and anything that tells you about the mood. So boys and girls, if you did not get this chart, that's okay. All right, you can put this in your reading notebook. You can take notes in your reading notebook, or you can put the notes in the margins next to the illustrations. That's fine too. So two things we're looking at. We're looking at the illustration on those pages. There's two of them. And then we're going to look for the details that are not in the text that it adds to it and the mood. So you can certainly do this in the margins, that's fine, but just don't skip one of those. Make sure you have the mood written down for the illustration and what it adds to the text. Alright, so I'm going to do the first one with you. Okay, so paragraphs 27 through 39. So make sure you're on Still Tom's Secret. So you should be on this page. Okay, and this is page number 27, 26, 27. All right, so we look at this illustration right here. What is this a picture of? What do you think this is a picture of? If you said outside of the tavern, you're right. Okay, so this is the outside of the tavern that they're talking about up in here. Okay, and here, this is all about taverns and where they're going. So what details does the tavern and the illustration kind of show you that's really not mentioned in the text? All right, give me a second to think about that, and then we're just going to type what details are missing in here. Okay. So this is what I mean, boys and girls, where you can just write it in your margins if you do not have the chart. That's fine. So things that are not in the text. Well, it doesn't tell us it's dark, but it certainly looks pretty dark in our illustration. Really gloomy. Okay. So it looks dark. Okay, what else does a tavern kind of look like? I mean, there's a dog there. It's not mentioned too. But it kind of looks like it's run down too. So not fancy. So it looks dark and shabby is a word we call that. All right. So we're going to make another box or just right below it. So what does it make it feel like? What's the mood of the story? So remember, moods are like fear, sadness, joy. What kind of mood does it kind of put you in when you kind of look at the picture? All right. So some of you may have thought that it looks dangerous. Like mood can be dangerous. Could also be suspense. Okay. You can just list a couple moods. All right, so that is for that particular illustration. Ooh. There he goes. So you can do that with the next one. If you don't have the chart, you can just put not in the text, that it looks dark and shabby. That's what this illustration is kind of adding to the story, that we don't really get told. They don't give us a description of the tavern, kind of what it looks like. We have to kind of decide that when we look at the picture. Okay. All right. So the next picture you're going to do, this one you can do with a partner, is this one right here. So this is Tom and Huck. Okay. So what does this particular add to the words that are already written? That they're doing something, or the way they're looking, that really doesn't tell you that in the story. Okay. So what does it add to the text? So you're just going to put a text box or just start writing. Details not in the text. And then write that. And then you're also going to tell me the mood. So looking at this picture, what is the mood? Ooh. There it goes. All right, boys and girls, so you can do that with a partner. All right, when you're done with the partner during your independent time, you're just going to write a paragraph about a different scene that we did not look at. So you pick from a different illustration. So, for example, that's our last ones. So pick a different illustration, so not these last two. This one. Okay, so for independent time, during your small group time, you can pick an illustration and kind of do the same thing. What does it add to the text? What does it show you anything about the characters and the mood? Look at them very closely in detail. Look at how the characters are sitting, standing, where their hands at. You know, what does this tell you, or what does it add to the story? And here's another one right here. So you pick from two illustrations that you have left. The gold coins with a candle next to it. I'm not sure if that's somebody in the background. Or this one. Okay, so you're going to write, I will go ahead and put this in Google Classroom so you don't have to put it in your reading notebook. So you're going to just write some details of the illustration that help you understand the mood, or new things it adds to the story for you, and anything you'd like to talk about how it helps you better understand the characters. Okay, so you can do this part with a partner. All right, and then you come back and we're going to do the next reading lesson, but then during small group time, you'll pick one of these two images, this one or this one, and talk about what it adds to the text or tells you about the characters or mood. Okay, and I'll put these directions also into Google Classroom for you. All right, boys and girls, so that's pretty much what we're doing. We're just looking at the illustrations and asking ourselves, how does that show the mood, and how does that show the meaning of what's happening? All right, that's it. Have a good one.